This week is insane. 2 alleged scattered spider members were arrested in the UK, with the US levying 120 counts of computer intrusions against one of them. Oh, and he may have been caught because he used stolen funds to order UberEats. You cannot make this up. Welcome back to Cyber Attack Sunday. Let's dive in. Samsung patched a critical Android flaw, CVE 2025-21043, that hackers had already been exploiting to take over Galaxy devices, likely through spyware campaigns. The bug allowed remote code execution and was reported by Meta and WhatsApp after being actively abused. CISA warned that hackers are exploiting a remote code execution flaw in Dassault Systèmes Delmia Apriso software used in manufacturing operations, potentially allowing full system compromise. A new ransomware strain called Hybrid Petya mimics NotPetya, but goes further by bypassing UEFI secure boot, using a malicious bootkit to take over systems at the firmware level. Attackers planted 24 malicious extensions under the name White Cobra in the VS Code, Cursor, and Windsurf marketplaces, tricking developers into installing crypto-stealing malware. A new phishing-as-a-service platform called Void Proxy is selling kits that steal credentials from Microsoft 365 and Google accounts, even bypassing third-party login tools like Okta. Hackers are manipulating search rankings and creating lookalike domains to push malware like Hidden GHOST, Winos, and KKRat onto Chinese-speaking users downloading fake software. Cybercriminals are increasingly tricking victims via phishing scams into installing remote monitoring and management (RMM) tools, giving attackers long-term access to compromised devices. Fairmont Federal Credit Union in West Virginia is finally notifying 187,000 people that hackers stole personal, financial, and medical data in a 2023 breach. The North Korean Kimsuki hacking group used ChatGPT to forge military ID cards in a phishing campaign impersonating a defense institution, aiming to steal sensitive information. Researchers from ETH Zurich and Google unveiled Phoenix, a rowhammer exploit, CVE 2025-6202, that cracks DDR5 memory protections in under 2 minutes, potentially granting root access. A former Finwise Bank employee accessed sensitive data belonging to American First Finance customers, compromising the personal details of nearly 700,000 people. China-linked hackers Mustang Panda are using a new USB worm called Snake Disk that only activates on Thailand-based IPs, dropping the Yokai backdoor alongside their ToneShell malware. Google confirmed hackers created a fraudulent account inside its law enforcement request system, LERS, potentially exposing the sensitive process used for official government data requests. Over 40 compromised NPM packages were modified to inject malicious bundle.js scripts, letting attackers steal credentials and tamper with projects across the registry. A Thales report revealed more than 40,000 API security incidents in just the first 6 months of 2025, highlighting the rapidly growing risk of data theft and business disruption. Jaguar Land Rover extended its factory shutdown for another week, following an August cyber attack, costing millions in losses as production remains stalled across multiple plants. Security researchers showed how attackers could abuse ChatGPT's new calendar integration with MCP tools to access and exfiltrate users' email data. Apple released urgent patches for older iPhones and iPads to fix CVE 2025-43300, a zero-day image processing flaw already used in sophisticated spyware campaigns. A new file-fix social engineering attack disguises malware inside steganographic images and fake meta-suspension notices, ultimately installing the StealC info stealer through multilingual phishing sites. The hacker groups Scattered Spider and Shiny Hunters announced they are shutting down, but industry experts warn the so-called retirements are likely a ruse, and that operations will continue. Researchers uncovered Slop Ads, a massive ad fraud scheme using 224 Android apps with 38 million installs to generate 2.3 billion fake ad requests daily before Google removed them from Play Store. A new AI-powered penetration testing tool called Villager, created in China, has already surpassed 11,000 downloads on PyPI, raising concerns about dual-use abuse in cyber attacks. Hackers linked to Shiny Hunters compromised customer data from Gucci and Alexander McQueen, exposing over 7.4 million unique email addresses in a major retail sector breach. 15 ransomware groups announced their shutdown on breach forums, but security analysts warn these gangs are likely to rebrand or spawn copycats rather than truly disappear. Critical GraphQL vulnerabilities in Chaos Mesh could let attackers hijack Kubernetes environments, execute arbitrary actions, and shut down pods with only minimal internal access. A fast-moving worm named Shai-Hulud has compromised at least 187 NPM packages, stealing developer secrets, altering package files, and exposing private repositories. A misconfigured Department of Homeland Security data platform left sensitive national security information, including surveillance-related intel, accessible to thousands of unauthorized users. Connor Brian Fitzpatrick, aka Pom Pom Purin, the 22-year-old behind Breach Forums, was sentenced to 3 years in prison after an appeals court overturned his lighter punishment for running the cybercrime hub and possessing CSAM. Microsoft and Cloudflare seized 338 domains tied to Raccoon 0365, a phishing-as-a-service operation that stole more than 5,000 Microsoft 365 credentials across 94 countries. Despite recently announcing retirement, Scattered Spider has reappeared, launching phishing and domain impersonation attacks on financial institutions, casting doubt on its shutdown claims. China-aligned Group TA415 impersonated a congressional committee chair in spear phishing attacks against U.S. government, think tanks, and academia, using VS Code remote tunnels to spy on victims. Security researchers flagged a new ransomware operation called Warlock, run by the Gold Salem Group, which combines standard extortion tactics with novel twists to evade defenses. Court filings allege a TaskUs contractor stole Coinbase customer data and sold it to hackers for $200 per record before being arrested earlier this year. VC giant Insight Partners confirmed a ransomware attack that compromised personal data of current and former staff, as well as limited partners, with thousands now being notified of exposure. Multiple critical flaws in Chaos Mesh, even in default settings, allow in-cluster attackers to run arbitrary code and potentially take over Kubernetes environments. SonicWall disclosed that attackers accessed cloud-stored firewall configuration backups tied to fewer than 5% of customers, urging all my SonicWall users to reset credentials immediately. Threat group TA558, linked to revenge hotels, launched phishing campaigns against hotels in Brazil and Spanish-speaking markets, deploying AI-generated scripts to install Venom Rat. Shiny hunters boasted of stealing 1.5 billion Salesforce records from 760 companies by abusing compromised OAuth tokens from SalesLoft Drift, sparking widespread concern across enterprises. Google patched its 6th zero-day of 2025, a type confusion bug in the V8 engine, CVE 2025-10585, already leveraged in attacks, urging users to update Chrome immediately. Criminals are now using SMS blasters that trick nearby phones into treating them as cell towers, enabling scammers to send 100,000 fraudulent texts per hour beyond carrier control. 2 rogue Python packages in the PyPI repository delivered Silent Sync, a remote access Trojan capable of data theft, screen capture, and file exfiltration. Luxury jeweler Tiffany disclosed a data breach impacting US and Canadian customers, where hackers accessed sensitive information tied to gift cards. This attack did not seem to come from a third-party supply chain attack. CountLoader is a new malware loader tied to Lockbit affiliates, used to deliver Cobalt Strike, Adaptive C2, and pure HVNC RAT in Russian ransomware operations. 1/3 of Android apps and over half of iOS apps expose insecure APIs or hard-coded secrets, leaving millions of users vulnerable. The Python Software Foundation revoked all PyPI tokens stolen in the September Ghost Action breach, confirming attackers did not use them to publish malicious packages. Radware researchers disclosed Shadow Leak, a zero-click flaw in ChatGPT's deep research agent that let attackers silently exfiltrate Gmail inbox data with a single crafted email before OpenAI patched it. Operators of the SystemVC botnet are infecting commercial VPS systems, maintaining an average of 1,500 bots daily to route malicious traffic through compromised servers. Authorities in the UK arrested 2 teenage members of Scattered Spider, charging them with the August 2024 Transport for London hack. One suspect also faces U.S. charges tied to 120 cyber attacks and 115 nellists in ransom. The filings reveal one of the 2 alleged members was stupid enough to use stolen funds to order UberEats to his own home. The New York Blood Center disclosed a breach that exposed data from nearly 200,000 individuals, including social security numbers, bank details, IDs, and health records. CISA reported that attackers exploited Avanti Endpoint Manager Mobile, CVE 2025-4427, and CVE 2025-4428, deploying malware loaders and listeners to run arbitrary code on compromised servers. Novacon human-machine interfaces remain vulnerable to critical bugs that allow remote code execution and data exposure, with patches still unavailable. ESET researchers found that Russia-linked Gamaredon compromised systems later used by Turla to deploy its Kazur backdoor in coordinated espionage attacks on Ukrainian targets. Attackers are using AI platforms like ChatGPT to mass-generate fake CAPTCHA pages, tricking users with human-like cursor movements to boost phishing success rates. A phishing-as-a-service network dubbed Lighthouse are Lucid spun up over 17,500 domains, targeting hundreds of brands across 74 countries, offering ready-made phishing kits for rent. Iran-linked UNC 11549 used fake job postings on LinkedIn to lure European telecom staff, infecting 34 devices with mini-bike malware as part of the espionage campaign. The FBI cautioned that cybercriminals are impersonating its IC3 complaint platform with fake websites to trick victims into sharing sensitive data. Sentinel-1 uncovered MalTerminal, an early malware proof of concept embedding GPT-4 functions for tasks like ransomware creation and reverse shells, marking a dangerous new trend in LLM abuse. Attackers are using fraudulent GitHub repositories disguised as legit tools to distribute the atomic macOS info stealer, with LastPass warning customers after being impersonated. Did I miss anything? I feel like I did. Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, follow, and share with your friends. As always, full articles and all sources can be found at the latest in cyber on Substack. See you next week.